Patriots, comrades, and fellow Kenyans. This is General Miguna from Berlin, Germany. I'm speaking to you in forced exile. I've read what Okengo Matiang'I has said with respect to the issues of their illegal red alerts and their illegal refusal to allow me to return to Kenya. And I wish to say this. Number one, the red alerts were issued by the Office of the President to all airlines using the Kenyan airspace. And the instructions to all the airlines was that I should not be allowed to fly to any port of entry in the Republic of Kenya and to any other African country. There is absolutely no law that gives Kenyan government authority or power to direct airlines not to carry me, for instance, to Cairo or Accra, or if I wanted to go to Joburg, South Africa. That would be an overreach because no government can control the airspace of another. Number two, I had traveled using international airlines, as I said, to Austria, to Switzerland, to France, to Germany, to the US, to the UK, to Mexico, and to many other countries. And there was absolutely and have been absolutely no restrictions and no restraints. There are no red alerts to any other capital. So this proves that the red alert that the Kenya government gave is illegal. Number three, the reasons that Okengo Matiang'I purportedly gave contradict the other reasons that the same illegitimate government has given before, just this week. Their so-called spokesman, Miguna, had said that I was unruly. Today, Matiang'I did not say I was unruly. Matiang'I claimed that there is some kind of law, an act of parliament, that needed to be changed for me to be able to travel back to Kenya. So just to address that issue, first, an act of parliament could not have been just passed in relation to me. An act of parliament cannot just restrict my movement and no other citizens' movement. Number two, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, not an act of parliament. Number three, the arguments that Okengo Matiang'I is using to restrict my movement on entry to Kenya are reasons that they had already presented to the High Court before Justice Luka Kimaru, and they lost that argument when Justice Luka Kimaru ruled against them. The same arguments Okengo Matiang'I used before Justice Chacha Mweta, and Justice Chacha Mweta ruled against him. He then appealed to the Court of Appeal, and he lost that appeal. The second appeal, he withdrew before the matter went to the full hearing. So Okengo Matiang'I cannot appeal to the Court of Public Opinion. He can only appeal to the Supreme Court. He has not appealed because he knows he will lose. Finally, I am a Kenyan-born citizen who has never renounced his citizenship. If there is any issue pertaining to my passport or ID or anything else they want to cook up, the best forum is the courts of law in Kenya. And the best way to deal with it is to allow me to enter Kenya, take me to court, and let's see who wins. And once I have won, like I have won, they must obey court orders. Further, on the 6th of January, 2020, Justice Korir ruled, and that ruling is still valid, it has not been overturned, that number one, I must be allowed to enter Kenya unconditionally. Unconditionally means there should be no conditions placed by anyone restricting my entry. Number two, He said that if there is demand that I must produce a document, a travel document, quote unquote, my national identity card, which I have, is in my possession, is enough to allow me entry. Justice Korir further ruled that in the event that whoever wants to restrict my entry insists on a passport, the passport that was taken from me illegally by Okengo Matiang'I on February 6th, 2018, would be adequate to be used in the form in which they delivered it to the registry at the High Court in Mlimani, Kenya. In other words, the judge said, the perforated passport will be deemed valid for purposes of travel. I can use it to enter Kenya, and I can use it to leave Kenya. Furthermore, the valid court orders that have been rendered in my favor, there are now 37 different court orders, are enough to facilitate my entry. Justice Korir and many other judges previously ordered that I should be facilitated back to Kenya because I was removed illegally from Kenya on February 6th, 2018. In other words, the Kenya government is compelled to buy an air ticket for me and to take me back to my home where they found me. I have now used over $10,000 for travel alone every time I have attempted to return to Kenya. That money has come from my pocket. Okengo Matiang'I has not paid the fines following his conviction by Justice Odunga. He has not served time since he was convicted of contempt. He has also not paid the $7 million that they were ordered to pay. They have not paid the $270,000 that they were ordered to pay for the repair of my house that they destroyed. This is to say that Okengo Matiang'I has absolutely no standing to make any argument in a court of law in Kenya by virtue of the fact that he's a convicted criminal who has disobeyed court orders, multiple court orders. This is not a matter that Kenyans should treat as a simple matter. It goes to the foundations of the rule of law. It goes to the foundations of the principle of constitutionalism. It goes to the foundations of democracy. It goes to the foundations of Chapter 6, Chapter 6 that deals with integrity, how public officers and those who hold state office should conduct themselves. The first is you must respect the Constitution and not subvert it. 2, you must follow the rule of law. 3, you must obey court orders. 4, you have to respect everyone's fundamental rights and freedoms. And lastly, you have to serve Kenyans. A state or public officer holds their office in trust for Kenyan citizens. I'm a Kenyan citizen. It is a duty of Uhuru Kenyatta, Fred Matiang'I, Kihalangwa, and their contemnors to uphold the rule of law, respect my rights, and to deliver services to me. It is not a request. It is not a suggestion. It is a positive duty. And I call upon all Kenyans of goodwill, patriotic Kenyans, Kenyans who believe in the rule of law, to stand up and defend the Constitution. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the Constitution. Nobody owns Kenya. Kenya belongs to all of us. We must defend Kenya. We must defend the integrity of our sovereignty, all of us. None of us is a second-class citizen. None of us is a third-class citizen. Kenya is not an empire. Kenya is not a kingdom. Uhuru Kenyatta is not an emperor. He is not a king. He is not above the law. He does not own us. We are not his slaves. Nor is Raila Odinga a king. They cannot tell us what we can or cannot do. The only thing that tells us what we can or cannot do is the supreme law, the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. That is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And it is the Constitution of Kenya 2010 that governs all our conduct. And if there is a dispute as to what a constitutional provision means or what a particular legislation means, it goes to court. And once the court has pronounced itself, that settles the issue. Viva